Peace to the family. Happy Hallows Eve to the family. It's the Hoodmystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Happy to be here with y'all. Happy to talk about these things, these weird, strange things. We living in a strange time, living in a quantum realm, and we living in a time where people are using this energy for their own benefit. So the purpose of this talk is for you to now use this energy for your own benefit. We're dealing with the occult. We're dealing with popular culture. We're dealing with twin energy. We're dealing with scapegoating. Now, the basis of this is going to be Watchmen episode 2. We also working with the Wu-Tang movie, the Dolemite movie as well with Eddie Murphy, and a host of other things. There's a lot of things happening when you utilize the quantum realm, when you utilize mysticism, and maybe we're not fully aware of it, We're just going to really deal with some things. It's entirely in your hands. That's kind of the message that I want to get to you, dealing with the channels from ODB, from Dolemite. It's really a time for us to really tap into this quantum realm and utilize it as I try to explain some things and try to break some things down. It's probably going to be a long video, so get comfortable, really open up your mind and really kind of ride these waves. Waves is one of the key words that we want to focus in on. We're going to start with waves and we're going to end with waves, okay? So we're going to start this journey off with Krishna and the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is associated with the demon Kali, the Kali Yuga. It just represents a time of strife, discord, and quarrel. A better name for this would be war, spiritual war. And this is taken from the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is a big book. It's bigger than the Bible. It's older than the Bible. And it's a story between Arjuna and Krishna. And Arjuna is a soldier. And he is outnumbered against some demons. And he's about to lose. And he's fearful. And at that moment, he channels the deity, the all-knowing deity, Krishna. And he asks him for some advice. Now, like I said, the book is larger than the Bible. It's older than the Bible. So we're not going to get into the whole book. But I do want to kind of just show and prove what the Kali Yuga would be like prophesied by Krishna. In Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior, and fine qualities. Law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. Men and women will live together merely based on superficial attraction, so forth and so on. A person will be judged unholy if he does not have money. Men will no longer protect their elderly parents. And this is something that would be deemed uncalled for, unheard of. Cities will be dominated by thieves. All of these different things. So, the Kali Yuga is the basis for the Watchmen. And so, if we're going to look at the Watchmen, we have to literally look at it as us watching TV and use that as a metaphor or a parallel for people who watch us and watch our culture. Now, this may seem far off and hard to believe, but let's just deal with a couple of things first and foremost. The main character in Watchmen is a man that goes by the name of Dr. Manhattan. So how I explain twin energy is in this fashion. Scapegoat in this fashion if you don't understand it completely. Dr. Manhattan was partly based on DC Comics' Captain Atom, who in Moore's original proposal was surrounded by the shadow of a nuclear threat. So I'm gonna get to Alan Moore in a second, but let's just start here. Dr. Manhattan was partly based on DC Comics' Captain Atom. Well, that's a hijack of ODB's energy. And you like, what you mean that's a hijack of ODB's energy? Let's take a look. TJ Adams is the TJ Adams is the actor that is playing ODB in Wu-Tang, an American Saga. His first movie, however, was a movie and the main character's name was Rada. Her character name was Rada and her goddamn real name was Rada. Rada blank. And why is that significant? This is significant because Radha, Krishna are collectively known within Hinduism as the combined forms of feminine as well as masculine realities of God. Listen to this. Realities of God. Radha Krishna, good, is the realities of God. Radha and Krishna are the primeval forms of God. His pleasure, potency, respectively, is the school of thought. So this is a whole school of thought. This is a whole understanding of the black man and the black woman being God, Radha Krishna. Now back to Alan Moore. Alan Moore wrote the comic in the 80s, Watchmen comic in the 80s. Now, the difference between Alan Moore writing this comic and anybody else writing other comics or any good person that's doing anything in the realm of art is that Moore is also a practicing magician, which is to say he performs rituals and he summons entities, okay? He summons entities, all right? So I'm not saying nothing too crazy at this point. I'm right in alignment with what this dude has already done. And so he wrote this book in the 80s and he was done with it, but it continues on and I'll explain why. In the end of the book, the last words in the comic is, it's entirely in your hands, okay? It's entirely in your hands. So what people did, the people who made the movie, they're not Alan Moore. The people who made the movie is different from Alan Moore, but they just took the licensing and did their own thing. So basically, let's just start this thing off right and correctly.
The queen, all right? All right? I said all right? Oh, goddamn right. Now we're going to do it up like this.
I don't know if y'all can hear that, but he's basically saying the black man is God. Some other things that happen in the comic book is Behold the Pale Horse and War. And we need to understand one thing and one thing clearly. Wu-Tang is for the kids and the black man and the black woman is God. The original man and the original woman are the original gods of the earth. And this was ODB's message. Even when they communicate with each other, they didn't say nigga, they didn't say bro, they didn't say fam, they say God. Meaning that they had knowledge of self and when they dealt with each other. Now this may mean nothing to you, but imagine being a person that's not supposed to make it out of Staten Island. You're not supposed to make it out of Brooklyn. They make these places islands for a reason, to isolate this particular population. But these group of individuals raise their inner chi to become international pop stars. You know, it wasn't supposed to be like that. But the reason why it is like that is because they operated at a God level. So we referring back to Watchmen episode 2. If you haven't seen the Watchmen episode 2, I'm sorry. But that's what I'm referencing and that's what gave me the inspiration for most of this episode. So as a good reference, you might want to check that episode out, then come back to this video. So the martial Comanche feats of horsemanship is not called, the actual painting is not called martial Comanche feats of horsemanship. It's just called Comanche feats of horsemanship. So the creators of the show added in Marshall, and we'll get into that. But we're going to look at this photo, and this photo shows 4 horses. It's a apocalyptic, and then there is a pale horse. But this actually shows how the actual riders, the actual gods, because who's mounted on these 4 horses are actually angels. And so what these angels are doing in this picture, this is all allegory. What these angels are doing in this picture, because it's native, but it's also biblical. They're flipping sides, so they can't get hit, so they can't get hurt. So the Jay-Z's, the Kanye's of the world, these are the Comanches, the RZAs. These are the Comanches. They'll flip on one side, and they'll be like, yo, I'm with the brothers. Hey, I used to sell dope. And then be on the other side in the corporate board meeting with Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump doing what they do with them. And then be right back in the hood talking to you. So this is just a metaphor. And if you watch episode 2, you'll see like it's really no one to be trust. Like you can't really trust anyone. Even when she arrested the guy, she didn't just take him into the police precinct. She took him to her job and like interrogated him at her job because she really was like, there's nobody I could trust. And then she goes to her former chief's house and finds out that he has a Ku Klux Klan robe. So that's just showing you the different sides of how this thing flips, goes back and forth. So let's just look into this one more time, just to double down on this. Behold the pale horse, martial horses, feats of horsemanship, Comanche, Indians, whatever. So behold the pale horse, and then we have the pale horse in the Watchmen episode, and then we have the actual book called Behold the Pale Horse that was written by the world famous Bill Cooper. But there's also a compendium book called Pale Horse Rider, William Cooper in the Rise of Conspiracy and the Fall of Trust in America. And guess who they interviewed in that book? You guessed it. If you guess ODB, you guess right. The most important thing that I've heard was told to me by Old Dirty Bastard himself. I went and interviewed him. It was like shortly before his death. It ain't funny, but you gotta laugh sometimes. He said, oh yeah, Bill Cooper. Yeah, I remember Bill Cooper. You know what Bill Cooper does in this world? Everybody's out to screw you, And Bill Cooper, he tells you who's doing it. And when you're somebody like me, not an entertainer, not a rapper, a god, cause let's keep it honest. You don't really know him for his raps. You probably don't even know how powerful the Wu-Tang Clan is, but he's a founding member. He's a foundational member of the Wu-Tang Clan. So let's just understand a person's power and how they can generate ancestral wealth for not only them, but for 9 other members, and then 9 other members' families, and I'm sure they put on other people's families. So can you see how the web of one man's power can really manifest as a real power source? And if there are many Krishnas like ODB, then what is the actual purpose of, the CIA and the cops, the hip hop police? What are they actually policing against? We'll get into that. But like I said before, Wu-Tang is for the children. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. It's all in your hands now. So this is actually a universal change of the guard where they're trying to really incite protests and riots, not only in your hood, fam, but all over the planet, mind you. So when you look at China and what's happening over in China, or maybe you don't care what's happening in China because it ain't happening on your block, but if you were so to happen to look, you would see that it's going crazy down there. But that's more of an attack on ODB. That's more of an attack on this ancestral energy that is now rising up to the surface. But now that it's rising up to the surface, people are piggybacking off of it and they're becoming successful. They're reclaiming their careers. They're getting revenue streams again. You know, Wu-Tang Clan wasn't eating for a second. Eddie Murphy wasn't eating out here for a second. Dave Chappelle wasn't eating out here for a second. I just seen a goddamn comedy stand-up with Arsenio Hall. I know for sure that man wasn't eating, but then you got all of these dead bodies coming up, and it makes you wonder. And it maybe don't make you wonder, but it for sure make me wonder. So what the Wu-Tang did, and I'm not talking about the actual rap group Wu-Tang, I'm talking about the martial artists, which was a fictional makeup, but is also an ancient mythology, so fiction, mythology becomes the same thing. So the Wu-Tang, sometimes also referred to as the Wu-Tang sect or the Wu-Tang Clan, is a fictional martial arts sect mentioned in several works of the wuxia fiction. So here we go, martial arts. So when we go back to the episode and it's called Martial Comanche Feats of Horsemanship, now you know where the martial comes from. Now you know how they trying to hijack the energy. And then it's like, okay, well, you just taking that from nowhere. You just saying that what martial got to do with anything, but then you got to double down on, well, isn't the Wu-Tang series happening concurrently? Well, yeah. Isn't the Dolemite one of the most talked about movies on Netflix? Well, yeah. Okay. And we talking about martial arts. When you talk about Dolemite, I know y'all don't want to give him his props, but bro was using martial arts to utilize that energy to become famous. And there's a close correlation between ODB and Dolemite that I don't think y'all really familiar with, but I'm gonna get to that at the end. But what the Wu-Tang members did was they spent their time making elixirs and special medicines to improve health and boost inner energy. So this is what they did. This is how they became famous. And I'll let ODB tell you in his own words. You feel me? You feel me? Energy building, taking all kinds of medicines. Y'all thought y'all was better than? Hey son, I keep planets in orbit. I ain't let it play out too long because of the copyright and the information that I'm dropping right now. I know YouTube is looking for any, I don't expect this video even to be up. So record this, download this for the archives if this resonate with you. So in dealing with Krishna, I referenced Krishna at the beginning. Why you reference Krishna? That's Indian, Kyrie. That's Indian Hoodmystic. That don't got nothing to do with the black struggle. They relate how Krishna literally black. Literally black. Truth needs a champion. Is it true? You damn right. You damn right. Them Google ads be accurate sometimes. Krishna, literally black or dark as a cloud. Born into the Yadava cloud. And so the thing about Krishna and Krishna's energy, and I'm going to relate this to the Bhagavad Gita, I got to say that slowly, and how it relates. But Krishna, literally black, okay? The black man is God, okay? We got that understood. But how this relates to this day and time, because within the Bhagavad Gita, it specifically states that Krishna's energy exists in the form of avatars. And avatars are spiritual vessels for his energy. So an example of that would be ODB and being a vessel of Krishna's energy. Now, if he's aware of it, then he could understand the message in the Bhagavad Gita that the war is already won. Because I know people going to come in and out of this live and they might not understand what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is that the war is already won. So if they try to get you into the emotions of a war that you're not victorious in, then they're trying to get you to create that reality because they're dealing with the quantum world. As we know, Alan Moore is a magician. When they refer to this book, when they refer to this comic book, They don't refer to it as a comic book. They refer to it as a Bible. They refer to it as canon. Okay? Canon. Let's talk about it. Why is so let's explain this ODB thing one more time, because I'm gonna have to explain it, because you gonna think that ODB is just a crazy nigga doing crazy shit on the mic. Okay, that's what you really gonna think. So I gotta really explain this to you to break you out of your block, your frame of mind that just looks at, you know, particular energy that doesn't fit with society and writes it off as crazy. That's your bad. Okay, this. If you were to understand the energy of reincarnation, avatars, then you would see the God in yourself. You would see the Krishna in yourself, and you would see the Krishna in everybody. So how am I able to pull this information up point by point by point by point like this? Is because I see the Krishna in everyone. I see the Krishna in everything, because Krishna is everything. And this is beyond a understanding of worship. This is the understanding of a soul, and I'm using Krishna as a title for my living soul, and my living soul is connected to your soul, ODB soul, my mama's soul, the dude walking down the street soul. Why is Krishna described in scriptures as black or dark? The short answer is that he is both black and blue, so it's okay to paint him blue. However, in most ancient deities, Krishnas are jet black. The deities are much older than any painting. The deities are much older than any painting. So a person can write about ODB in the 1980s because they know ODB is going to come, because the energy is much older than any painting. It's just that we have locked ourselves out of the memory of the sacred clown and how vital it is to our society. So we'll watch the shit like porn as these dudes get murdered, okay? We'll watch it like it's TV, but it's real life. Portraying Krishna and X-Men, Apocalypse. So there's multiple universes, there's alternate universes. You got the Marvel universe, you got the DC universe, and within the Marvel universe is the energy of Apocalypse. Now, if you've seen X-Men Apocalypse, they're just explaining the Krishna energy, the blue skin, and bruh can just do anything. He could just do anything, just whatever, you know. I've been called many things over many lifetimes. This is the process of reincarnation. You're going to call me Ra when I'm in Egypt. You're going to call me Krishna when I'm in India. You're going to call me Yahweh when I'm in Israel. You're going to call me Kyrie when I'm in Columbus, Ohio. You're going to call me ODB when I'm in Brooklyn. You're going to call me Snoop Dogg when I'm in Cali. You're going to call me whatever. You got to understand this. And the reason why that the club don't get shut down, the reason why people still turn out to concerts is not because of the artists, because they got niggas literally mumbling to y'all. They got people mumbling to y'all. Do you think people are not showing up to their concerts, lining up to hear niggas mumble for 2 hours? Because they can mumble. They don't even got to take their shirts off no more. They're wearing skinny jeans. They're not even trying to be aesthetically pleasing. Just the Krishna energy is so live. So what did Krishna do? Krishna played the flute. So the flute is just another word for the voice. And he was a cow herder. Because he was a god and people knew that he was a god, the king would kill Krishna. So he got snuck into the cow herd, aka the ghetto. And so for fun and amusement, because you know it's boring in the ghetto, it's boring in the cow herd, Krishna at night would play his flute. And his flute was so beautiful that all the cow herd wives, all the cow herd sisters would just swoon over bruh playing his flute. That's your rappers today. That's your superheroes today. Ain't nobody flying around in capes, but they flying around in jets, going from here to there, living out your fantasy. They got ups, they got downs. We watch them on Instagram. These are our stars. Okay? It's not a game. They either dribbling basketballs or under somebody's contract. Lord Krishna was not meant to be worshipped in temples or Lord Krishna was meant to be worshipped in temples or home shrines, not for pushing movies for the mercantile greed of filmmakers. So they're literally telling you, a Hindu priest is telling you that they are utilizing Lord Krishna's energy for mercantile greed. Okay? Back down to, so, the Bhagavad Gita. So I'm not crazy. I'm not pulling shit from my left nutsack. Okay, I'm sorry for the language, but I'm just not pulling stuff from just out of left field. I'm telling you what they're trying to incite with these movies, and just because you don't pay attention to it, just because you don't watch it, because you holier than thou, you don't watch TV. I'm woke. Okay, but this TV is beyond, it's progressed beyond just simply watching TV. It's a way to engage into the quantum realm. It's a way to for I guess not me and you, but especially for them to access their way into the quantum realm, to hijack energy, and they would have got this shit off smooth as a baby's cakes. But they didn't expect me to understand the mythology. They didn't understand, they didn't expect you to listen to this video, to even be able to decode this shit. So when you deal with Krishna, you're dealing with death, the destroyer of worlds, Dr. Manhattan. That's what the sacred clown is here to do. That's what these people are here to do. They're here to take down this societal capitalism structure and make you think about it for a second. And besides think about it, they're here to just basically destroy it. So is there anything else on this page? But no, Dr. Manhattan, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, mercantile greed of filmmakers. Okay, we not somewhere far left. So this article is from 2019. This isn't something that's like happening a long time ago. This happened recently. Well, this even happened really recently at the Rolling Loud event. But this is from May 2019. If it seems that more rappers have been arrested in 2019 than ever before, there may be a reason for this besides their notoriety. According to the New York Post, the NYPD has a special unit dedicated to the surveillance of some of the top black rappers in urban parties. So, trust me, fam, it ain't just the rappers. It's your kids that's shaking their ass to this, listening to them, being monitored. Okay? It ain't just about fun and dancing and stuff. It's about who's the gods and who's the not. Who's not the gods. Because the gods, we got to take them out. Okay? So you might think that is all gang violence. You might think like, man, these black kids is crazy. They keep shooting each other. And this is just the question. I think that is a valid question that has not been answered, because when you think of Laquan McDonald, we got that on videotape. But how many times have a black man got killed where we didn't have videotape? And who was the murderer? Was it always gang violence in Chicago? I'm just asking questions. If you can say with a shadow of a doubt, absolutely, these black kids are savages, or it could be something else. I'm just the type to say that maybe it's something else. Me personally. So, martial feats of the Comanche horsemanship, I keep getting it confused. I'm gonna mute this one out because I don't even want us to hear. I just want us to see. We see prison, right? We see prison. We see the keys. More prison, more keys. CO. Jay-Z. We got Jay-Z. We got prisoners. We got rappers. DJ Khaled. We got cops. And we got Future. Okay? The first episode, first scene, first transition of the show, the first song is your man Future. Here's why HBO's Watchmen used Future's crushed up in his first episode. Because it's a metaphor, but I guess they ain't want to say all that. That's too deep. There was actually a different song scripted, more like a honky-tonk classic Oklahoma song, Crushed Up, which is also playing in the car of the white supremacists. That's interesting. So, we seen Jay-Z with the prisoners. We seen Jay-Z in jail. We seen Jay-Z fighting against the cops. But we also... Let me get my bearings together. Did I delete it? Ah, no, I didn't. I got the keys. Is you really down for the cause, or is you a Comanche going back and forth? Oh, I can hang with... Man, maybe that's a deeper side of the game. But that's what the show presents to you, though. It could be that's a good thing that the Comanches is able to go from back and forth. It might be a good thing that Judd was a part of the Klan. Maybe he was a good guy in the Klan. And then the roles is reversed, so maybe the black guy is the white guy and the white guy is the black guy, and it's just completely reversed. These are just all questions that the quantum world presents to us. So these are some things that are addressed in the episode 2. One of them is clones and the other thing is personas. Now, in hip hop, we deal with a lot of cloning and a lot of clone talk. And a lot of people say, man, that's some sci-fi type stuff. They can't really clone people. You crazy. The United Nations Declaration of Human Cloning, Annex, March 8, 2005. The following states voted in favor. Where's our little piece of shit place? We voted in favor for it. This was in 2005. And this is another part that I want to show you. This ain't from nowhere crazy either. This is the Cambridge University Press. So this ain't from the Star magazine or nothing. Let's keep it official. I want to show y'all one more thing, and we're going to get off this cloning, because I know it's going to spook people out. They can't clone people, Hoodmystic. This too much. While pioneer cloning experimentation goes back to the early 1950s. So like I was trying to explain my wife, every morning somebody woke up, multiple people woke up in multiple countries, right? Hella countries since the 50s been waking up with nothing on their mind but cloning a nigga. That's all they ever been thinking about, was cloning somebody. So don't feel like it's far-fetched for people to get cloned. And this is what they showed in episode 2. You got to watch it. And so we'll get into this later in the build, the persona. This aspect of someone's character that is presented or to be perceived by others, but is not really real. It's a mask. So the mask, persona, mask, superheroes, rappers, all the same thing. They're in the quantum world. Alan Moore, he's in the quantum world trying to reverse some stuff. Now, reversal could be good for some and bad for others. That's why people are so pissed, because they're doing magic on a level of John D. They're doing magic on a level of ancient Francis Bacon, Thomas Jefferson. They are doing magic at its highest calling right now. And are you involved? Or are you saying, you know what? I can do the same stuff as Alan Moore doing. I could do the same stuff that they doing on Watchmen. Because it ain't nothing but for us to listen to a goddamn CD. We be into some deep quantum stuff. You in your dream, you drinking your cherry juice, getting your melatonin together, doing your meditation. Like, you be in the realm of quantum, you just focus on something. Focus on something. It's all about correspondence. It's entirely in your hands. And what they're trying to do is in this show, reverse the racial dynamic we're used to seeing between white cops and black drivers, and just white people and black people in general. Black people and black people. They're reversing the dynamic of how black people don't even communicate with their elders. You don't even know that's your goddamn grandfather no more. That's what they're showing. They're reversing that. It's a deep show. And it's deep for me because I'm a deep person, right? And it'll be deep for you if you're a deep person as well. It's going to be stupid, so forth and so on. So here we have a picture of a black Nazi soldier. And so, first and foremost, I just want to get this out the way. The swastika is a geometrical figure and an ancient religious icon. The name swastika comes from the sacred word swastik, meaning conducive to well-being and auspicious. Auspicious just means good as hell. It just means great, okay? That's what a swastika is. In the opening scene to episode 2 of The Watchmen, it starts off in a German typewriting propaganda camp where the ladies are just typing out pamphlets, and he pulls one lady aside that can speak English, which she might be a double agent, come to think of it, but I guess that'll reveal itself later in the show. But she's typing English, and she's typing a letter to black men to tell them, hey, come join the German army. And you know me, I kind of go OD with the research and the study. And a lot of people on the internet and reviewing the episode, they're like, that is just a big lie. The Germans would not care about the black people like this country cares so much about us. Like, it would have just been so much worse. Right? It'd have been so much worse. So, I want to put you into a little game they play. And no, this ain't 702 in Subway. That's a rhyme. That's a bar. I'm going to turn this up.
Hanging out with a lot of Jewish spiritual people. In Hollywood, there are a lot of Jewish spiritual people with the, like Madonna, was it Kabbalah? Is that what it's called? It was like he was hanging out with like Kabbalah. Jewish spirituality.
Yeah. Jewish spirituality. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. You're talking too much. Yeah, Jewish spirituality. That's enough. You said enough. A Mori, since the 11th century, is a symbol depicting either a head of a Muslim or a black Moor. The term has Phoenician and Greek origins. So these are just a few. There are thousands of Moorish coats of arms. When they say the right to bear arms, they got y'all talking about guns so you can kill yourself. This is the right to bear arms right here, ladies and gentlemen. the right to have a family legacy, to pass something down to your children. This is the right to bear arms. This is your history. This is how people knew how people were. This was the ID before IDs, the coats of arms. And where you find a lot of these at are in Germany. If I told y'all, y'all wouldn't believe me. So can we have Benjamin Franklin tell y'all? Maybe y'all will believe him. Look at all these good old folks. This is Ben Franklin on the stupid, swarthy Germans. Now, do your Googles on swarthy. Swarthy means dark complected. Before I go any further, man. I said, all right. I'm gonna just read this to you. This shit blows my mind every time I read it. But let's blow our minds together. It's Halloween. Let's get spooky. This is Benjamin Franklin's words, not mine. Which leads me to add one remark. That the number of purely white people in the world is proportionately very small. All Africa is black or tawny. Asia chiefly tawny. America exclusive to the newcomers wholly so, and in Europe the Spaniards, Italians, French, Russians, and Swedes are generally of what we call a swarthy complexion, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only. So all of Europe, not so long ago, was black as you and me. Okay? So when they talk about the Germans, we hate the Germans, we hate the Jews. They're not talking about nobody besides you and me. You just need to understand this. The slave trade was a worldwide endeavor, and it was a worldwide global conspiracy that if I gave you the full details, it would make your head explode. But since we're in the quantum, we are in the sight of superior beings. Darken its people. Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America? They're not talking about people from Africa. They're talking about Germans. Google the sons of Africa. These are the Moorish heads, the Holy Roman Emperor descendants of, that got their faces all on the flags, on the coats of arms, on the statues. When you walk in the churches, you see your face because you are a reflection of God. Sigillum secretum, the secret still. And I'm not that dope of a guy to just make up a website and just start making up stuff. Okay? I've been trying to tell a story and weave a narrative a long ways to get to this point. So y'all, when I say stuff, y'all don't look at me like I'm a crazy person. But life it moves in a cycle. Blackness as an allusion to God. Perhaps even more remarkable, especially from our perspective today, is evidence which would suggest that in the language of heraldry, the right to bear arms, the blackamoor could be an illusion. Illusion just means point A to point B. I know we didn't do well in English class because it was boring. Our definitions weren't all the way up to par. That's why I'm here. To God himself. Let me repeat that. When they talk about they hate this person and this world war and in Vietnam, it's one goal and one goal early. One goal only. Suppress the black man because the black man is God. Keep your foot on his neck. Bring him to heel at every chance you get. Don't let him think that he gonna be successful. And if he gonna be successful, he gonna be successful on our watch. When it's time to push the button, we gonna push the button. The reason why they do this is because in the language of heraldry, in the language of ancestry, in the language of lineage, because when you trace your damn lineage down to the very core essence, it's back to a place where this world didn't even exist, meaning that everything created and everything that dies, your black ass still gonna be here. When this whole shit goes to kaplooey, we gonna be somewhere in the astro at a barbecue, kicking it. Because let me tell you something about the war. It's already won. So all of this fear-mongering and all of this magic that they're doing, they didn't expect me to exist. They didn't expect you to listen to it. The Blackamoor could be an allusion to God himself. The Blackamoor could be an allusion to God himself. The Blackamoor could be an allusion to God himself, not an illusion, an allusion. Point A to point B. You see this Moor's head? That's a symbol of God himself. You see a black man with his shit together, fresh out the gym. You see a black woman with her shit together, fresh out the beauty salon. And you got that feeling of, oh my God. It's an allusion to God himself, God herself. We're not being sexist. I'm just trying to prove a point. Or not even prove a point, make you think about something that you probably wasn't thinking about previously. I will hope you gain from this. Now, we ain't get too crazy on the etymology because a lot of things didn't connect etymology, but the things that did connect etymology, I think that's good enough. We got LeBron James and Dr. Manhattan. And Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with. First, let's get into China. Because we got into the Wu-Tang clan and the Wu-Dang sect and the energy building and them trying to kill that. So, like, it's a revolution happening in China. People are committing suicide in the name of revolution, protesting, rioting in the name of revolution. It's multi-layered and multi-leveled, and I don't got enough time nor energy to explain to you on the multiple fronts of why people is just tired. They tired of having one baby. They tired of working in sweatshops. They tired. But see, you got people in China watching the Watchmen, and they like, man, this is unacceptable. They trying to steal our swag. They making this whole movie be about us. You see how the quantum go? It's all up in your hands. We all could watch the Watchmen. Since you watching it, you gotta pull from it how you gonna pull from it. And since it's a magical resource, the same way as a Bible, like, you know, the Bible can sometimes be used for negative gains, but we've all had our moments at times where the Bible was exactly what we needed. Damn, I needed that verse right there at that particular time. I needed that perspective. That's what this is doing. I don't like repeating points, but this is a canon. This is a Bible. So the first episode starts with a character in the midst of the Tulsa race massacre in 1921, during which more than 300 black people were killed by a white mob, and then jumps ahead to 2019 with a hate crime and racial tensions displaying a key role in the show. I read all that to say that don't got nothing to do with Chinese people. How is Chinese people thinking that this got something to do with them? I was just questions, you know. They made a show about the political correctness while hanging the Watchmen name out there. I was one thing I want to show. Oh, here we go. Rioters, mass, beating up police. The world is indeed connected. Isn't that so? How is it connected? It's connected through the string theory in the quantum realm. Now we're about to get into some multi-layered hijacking. I mean, anybody can do the hijacking. It's just that the people from HBO did some hijacking. The people from Netflix, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall. I was going. Never mind. I ain't gonna say stuff I ain't studied. So we connecting Dolemite as being the godfather of rap, the godfather of like utilizing this martial arts type style, comedy, sacred clown, original godfather of hip hop and rap. When he was doing his comedy, he spoke it in rhymes. Okay? Before this, wasn't nobody doing it. So one could say if Rudy Ray Moore doesn't spit these hot bars, these hip hop artists that we know might not even be here today. And in understanding the energy of Krishna and how it applies to Dolemite, Dolemite wasn't the character that you see on the screen. He was much more of a artsy fartsy patsy type of dude. He was into the arts, the fine arts, the liberal arts. You catch my drift? It's 2 snaps in a circle. But he had a persona of the ladies' man. The ladies' man. So we'll get into all of that. And so the crazy part of why I'm watching Dolemite and then I'm knowing the real story about the actual Dolemite. And I'm like, well, dang, why didn't Eddie Murphy add in the real part about Dolemite? And I was like, Eddie couldn't play that part. He would have had to give it to somebody else. Because that wouldn't have been acting for Eddie. That would have been real life. 2 snaps in a circle. So, hijack energy. Let's get into it. Scroll down to October 20th. Watchmen premieres. I'm just providing a basis, y'all. Don't trip. What do that got to do with anything? You tripping? Give me a second. Oh, I missed a point. I gotta go back to a point, but this ties in. So, he dies October 19th in Akron, Ohio. Show comes out October 20th. But let's go back to Akron, Ohio. LeBron James. Etymology, same as Dr. Manhattan. And so, if you watch the news, you might be confused as hell. Like, they rioting, they protesting. It's going down in China. Hong Kong is revolution in Hong Kong. We need to ask an expert about this. I know who I'm gonna ask. LeBron James asked, hey, LeBron, what you think about China? LeBron, silly ass, gonna try to give an answer. He gonna try to give an answer, and the question would be like, why? Like, why would you do that, bro? Like, cause he is Dr. Manhattan. He is a god. He just want to play basketball. He want to be on Mars. He don't care about our plight. the gods that we like, if we was in ancient times, we'd have got down with some guys that got busy. You know what I'm saying? Was down for the cause, down for unification. Now, the guys that we live around, they just care about having the biggest house and the nicest cars and the most Instagram followers. They could care less about your ass. So, this part hurt me, man. This part hurt me, man.
You know me for making it so sick. Lost in my six with the Lex.
So the irony of Eddie playing Rudy, and he never called him. Eddie, unfortunately, wouldn't piss on Rudy Ray Moore when he was alive. Rudy had three real desires in life. One was to be on network television. He saw Red Fox on and everybody, and he wanted to be on network television. So when I directed The Legend of Dolemite, the documentary, is ecstatic that you're doing his life. I'm loving it. He's loving it. Don't get me wrong, Eddie Murphy. Fucking Rudy Ray Moore is ecstatic that you're doing his life. I'm ecstatic because people are hearing his name and knowing about Rudy Ray Moore's contribution. But cannot go without saying that Rudy's pissed that you never called him when he was alive. Hands down. That's just the truth.
Peep how you in the all black right here. He in all black right here. Peep it. Okay, now I'm gonna play it one more time.
Maybe blush. Did you ever meet him? Yeah, I met him a few times because I approached him. I went up to him. I saw him I went to go see him at a couple of different times. I saw him at a place on Ventura Boulevard where I had this idea to make his movie about 15, 16 years ago. And he had no interest in making a movie. He was like, let's go on tour together. He wanted to.
Oh, okay. We got one more.
Time.
Yeah, I want people to realize what an inspirational figure this person was, and that nobody's the person that you see on the screen.
Right.
You know, that's
Nobody is the person you see on the screen.
Dressed in all black like the omen. Have your friends singing, this is for my homies. And you know me for making it.
So, we're gonna take this real quick to Charlie Murphy and his rendition of Dolemite in San Antonio. And we gonna really reference how the energy of spirit works, because Dolemite came out October 25th streaming, where everybody got to really sit and watch it. And something interesting happened in San Antonio. But the movie was dedicated to Charlie Murphy because Charlie Murphy was the fan of Dolemite. Eddie Murphy ass wasn't the fan of Dolemite. And we saw how Eddie Murphy talked about Dolemite. Now let's pay attention real quick to how Charlie Murphy references Dolemite real quick.
It was
in San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Home of the Alamo, baby.
Home of the Alamo, and more importantly, the place where Dolemite was born. Dolemite was from San Antonio.
Kick that
He was
shit.
a rambling, scrambling, gambling motherfucker from the day he was born. From the day he was dropped from his mammy's ass, he slapped his pappy's face and said, "Move over, cocksucker. From now on, I'm running this place." From the age of 1, he was drinking whiskey and gin. And from the age of 2, he was eating the bottles that came in. Now, Dolemite had an uncle called Sudden Death, killed a dozen bad men with the smell of his breath.
Damn.
And when he heard how Dolemite was treating his mon pa, he said, "Let me go check this little bad rascal go before he go too far." It was one cold, dark December night when his uncle broke in on Dolemite. His uncle said, "Dolemite, I want you to treat your mama right. And if you don't stop with this filthy mistreating, I'm going to whip your ass till your heart stop beating." Dolemite was sitting in the middle of
You get the point. But so I always pay attention to nature, especially when people transition. John Witherspoon transitioned 2 days ago. It ain't been shit but gloomy, and ain't been nothing but gloomy ever since I found that out. So let's pay attention to the weather on the night that this movie dropped. So we got Friday, October 25th, 2009. Overnight storm causes problems for San Antonio. As you can see, it was going crazy that day, and that was just really an indication of how the energy just kind of like sometimes the energy don't like that. And San Antonio is a real special place to Dolemite, really hitting the chilling circuit, and that actual story has been said over and over and over again. So, you know, he may look like a fool, he may look like a crazy person, but if you watch the movie and you understand, you know, how this thing works and how this thing plays out, then it's deeper. It's deeper than that, especially when they transition, their energy becomes something else and they become real live actual guides, actual awakeners of the way. They remove the skin of the body and they tap into their ancestral energy. So to connect with a deity or a bodhisattva or somebody who's been in this realm, they're not in that form any longer when they transition. When they transition, they come back into their own space. And you know that a person is a god by their works. You have a man who was told no at every turn and never used that as an excuse to quit, but use it as a reason to be monumental and transformational. Like I said, without Dolemite, you don't get none of the rappers that you have today. But within that, the Illuminati, let me not even say that. The secret societies, or the people who actually are running the music industry, they are putting rappers and entertainers under particular contracts. And when you get under these contracts, they tell you what to say. Now, y'all not gonna believe me if I say it, so I'll just read this quote from Kanye, and he'll tell you better than I can tell you. "I'm tired of people pinpointing musicians as the Illuminati. That's ridiculous. We don't run anything. We're celebrities. We're the face of brands. We have to compromise what we say in lyrics so we don't lose money on a contract. We have to compromise what we say in lyrics so we don't lose money on a contract. That's it. That's all. I don't care how nice he is, how much you like him. If he's under a contract, he can only say what he's employed or what he's paid to say. Anything outside of that, they have a whole nother person waiting for you like a factory at this point. Because like I said, they've been waking up every morning with one thing on their mind, and that's cloning human beings. So just want to bring up some points. Behold the Pale Horse is a prison book. It's a book that a lot of black men in prison, a lot of black men that read it in prison. Many of the rappers who emerged during the early 1990s, the great Wu-Tangs, Nas, were deeply influenced by the Five Percenters, aka the Nation of Gods and Earth. The movement had been founded in late 1960 by Clarence 13X and eventually Father Allah. The tongue was the sword. So this is how these guys fought. So they weren't actual murderers, like they could go to jail for it, but in a certain type of way, they were much more dangerous because they're the sacred clowns. Now, when I referenced sacred clowns before, I referenced that the sacred clowns are very important to the tribal structure. They allow you to look at the world correctly because they don't fit into the social structure. They kind of talk out of it. And we need this inspiration in our daily lives, or else we become victims to the system. We become victims to the magic. In the Wu-Tang series, the gang or the clan is really founded by a chess master. And this chess master is like kicking game to RZA. And so within this, he's learning how to build his energy and also how to play the game. Because when it comes to referencing energy, especially when you know who you are, it only takes you to begin to play the game and identify yourself as a god. And once you identify yourself as a god, the world begins to become a different place. And you have to always understand the perspective within the war as a god, because a god does not stay in the present time. He stays in the past, he stays in the present, and he stays in the future. So in your meditations, what do you see? In my meditations, I see victory. In my channelings, I see victory. So that's what I speak, and that's what I feel. When you're someone like me, that's valuable information. And I want us always to key in when ODB says, someone like me. Because what does that actually mean? To me, it means that he knows that he's a god. So, if you know who you are, and you have knowledge of self, and you are connected to your lineages, your great-great-grandfathers, then 10 times out of 10, you're connected to some form of ancient American Indian. And you might not be a part of the official Dawes Rolls Commission. You might be a part of the freedmen. Although many Indian tribes did not consider strict blood or descent as the only way to determine if a person was a member of the tribe, the Dawes Commission did. Many freedmen, slaves of Indians who were freed after the Civil War, were kept on the rolls as members of tribes, although they were emancipated after the war and according to peace treaties with the United States to be given full membership in the appropriate tribes in which they were held. Even if the freedmen were of mixed race ancestry, as many were, the Dawes Commission enrolled them in separate freedmen rolls rather than letting them self-identify as to membership. The same is true for memories of the historical African descent communities which developed alongside different Indian settlements in Florida. So you have a whole group, quote unquote, black people who never got the credit that they were due based upon real racism, which is destroying your ancestry. Blood quantum laws. The Indian removal, and this all ties into ODB. You just gotta let me get to that. The Indian Removal Act and the Trail of Tears led to a major enumeration of Native Americans and the controversies and misunderstandings about blood quantum that persist to this day. As they were being forcibly driven out of their ancestral homelands and subjected to genocides, many natives understandably feared and distrusted the government and tried to avoid being enumerated. So, when we reference reparations and we reference like all of this, like when are we gonna get our reparations? When we gonna get our money? I mean, they giving money away like it ain't nothing because it ain't nothing. U.S. finalizes 3.4 billion settlement with American Indians. When is we gonna get our reparations? So why am I referencing reparations? Well, in episode 2, there's a particular part where the main character, Regina King, she goes into a Greenville, shout out to the Gap Band, the Greenville Memorial Museum. And within this museum, she's sitting there turning in her grandfather's DNA to get it tested. And they got like a little kiosk. And up on the kiosk is this man, Henry Louis Gates Jr. And Henry Gates Jr. has produced a lot of these shows called Finding Your Roots. Finding Your Roots. It's a mini empire of genealogical studies on PBS. So imagine this Comanche of a dude, Henry Louis Gates, flipping and flopping, right? Acting like he really care about your genealogicals, the history, the father of family history. But let me tell you how DNA is full of BS. Say, for instance, I come from a tribe that's been wiped off the face of the earth and the DNA company doesn't have that data set. How are they going to tell me that I come from that tribe and they don't have the data set? You would have to have the data set of every living human being in order to tell me my correct DNA genealogical makeup. And even then, that's too much information for me to understand it, for it to be valuable or pertinent in my everyday. Because the human idea of ancestry and lineage don't matter no more. It's now to a point of the cosmic and quantum where we got to get our connections from. Unless you getting your part of your 3.4 billion settlement because you're a part of your tribe. And even then, it ain't no guarantees. So the inheritance and the birthright comes in the form of cosmic memory. Cosmic memory boosts up your vibration. Your vibration boosts your frequency. Your frequency unlocks your supernatural powers. And from your supernatural powers, you are a damn superhero. And it's all from meditation and understanding that you are a God incarnated within this avatar called the human body. Now, if we was in our Moorish coats of arms and our right to bear arms and we had our lineages in order and we knew what was what and we was getting our just due, then this wouldn't be a conversation. But since it's not, we have to tap into what our ancestors tapped into when they didn't have the ancestors to tap into. You follow me? Fuck a DNA test. I got the keys. I got the keys. I got the keys. I got the keys. That song stupid as hell. But that shit jam like shit though. So I got the keys videos showing like the police and these rappers. And you be like, why do the police always be messing with the rappers? They trying to get to that energy and shut that energy down. If you catch a rapper slipping, don't worry about it. They'll take care of him. You want to be too different, you want to be on the left too far, they'll make it right. Kanye West was a god. Now that nigga talking about Jesus is king. If that don't tell you that they ain't playing, these people will kill your mama. They don't be playing. They don't be playing. They don't be playing. And if cause when you a god, mortals can't always kill you. Okay? When you a god, they can kill the people close to you. That's why when you are a god, you have to raise your family up to god level. So since we don't have the ancestral lineage like we used to, and in covering this information, this shit gotta be about your family too. It gotta be a way of life. Cause what I'm saying is you gonna boost yourself way up to the top, but you ain't gonna boost those people else around you, and they gonna be victims. And since they can't touch you cause you operating at a higher level, they gonna touch the people that's close to you. Now, ODB is a sensitive case because you have a person with massive energy. I think he was the Lord Krishna incarnate himself, personally. It's my personal opinion. And if he didn't know that, that would make his life much more difficult than it would have to be. Because if you watch that documentary that was on MTV, he was all pressed about getting money from RZA and getting his contract right with Rockefeller and all of this like existential stuff. And I can tell he wasn't in the space of how the black man is God, black woman is God. Somehow he forgot that in that moment, and that gave it enough space for them to kind of take it away. But then if you reference the energy of Krishna, there are no mistakes, there are no coincidences, and energy isn't necessarily died. We still have this conversation here, 2019. We still referencing this energy. There's still a Wu-Tang series that's popping because of the ODB character. If you ask me, I'm sure people watch it for their own reasons, but I think the ODB character makes the show worth watching. That's my favorite character in the shit. When he shows up on the screen, I'm happy. When he's not on the screen, I'm like, I wish they show ODB again. This is happening at the same time. But you don't know about ODB, man. He was in his bed one night and somebody kicked in his door and they shot him. Tried to kill him, but he didn't die. But in referencing that was some people from the music industry. That wasn't even no street beef. So now you got to ask the question, why is the music industry trying to kill him? Is the bars that deep? Is the bars so raw? And so I'm going to connect ODB to Dr. Manhattan. And I'm going to show you how it played out for me. Now, the Wu-Tang Clan got 2 CDs. They got more than 2 CDs, but 2 CDs that I'm referencing for this conversation is Enter the 36 Chambers, which is Enter the Heart, which is what Krishna says to do. That's where you find Krishna, in the heart. Enter the 36 chambers because your heart has 4 chambers that has 4. They break it down in a different 36 heart chamber. But then ODB's first CD is called Return to the 36 Chambers. So in Dr. Manhattan episode 2, not Dr. Manhattan, the Watchmen rather, Dr. Manhattan is it's a origin story, and it's like a play. It's a mythology that they play out. And so before Dr. Manhattan is Dr. Manhattan, he's John Osterman. And John Osterman has a girlfriend that he's like chilling with, parlaying with. And as he's chilling with her, parlaying with her, they're like in this like chamber or like this booth. And they're about to leave. So they leave, and then the girl's like, yo, John, I forgot my keys. Because, you know, I got the keys. I got the keys. I need you to go back to the chamber and get the key so we can leave, so I can get in the house so we can do it later. He like, oh, yeah, so we can do it later. Hell yeah, I'm going to go back and get the key. But when he goes back and get the key, he gets trapped in a chamber, burns, and he dies and is resurrected as Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan. this is the part of the video that we gonna close out with, and we gonna call this part of the video Manhattan. And this part is really blowing me away. So and what can you tell us about your style? Who influenced you? This is the interviewer talking to ODB. My influences come from China. That's it. My influences come from China. My style comes from Egypt, Africa, Tokyo, and Russia with love. And the rest comes from Neptune, the higher octave, the third eye. So, you're the international rapper. Yes, exactly. But you're also deeply rooted in New York. This ODB talking, not me. Yeah. Seneca, the one that sold Manhattan to the white man. That's my great grandfather. So when ODB says someone like me, you know what he means when he says that. Told y'all I was going to get here. I had to take a long way to get home. Okay? I'm talking about Seneca, my war clout, spiritual war that we don't know nothing about. He was born in 1774. He owned Manhattan. See, Seneca Indians own Manhattan. And this is ODB's bloodline that he was aware of, that he channeled and tapped into to reach billion-dollar success. Wu-Tang Clan is worth over more than $1 billion. They sold one CD for $1 million, or probably 2 million. One CD. It's power. So as I'm finishing up, we can't go around and calling ourselves slaves from Africa all the time like that without the proper research. Okay, fam? Okay, bro? Okay, sis? Indians were enslaved in Virginia by settlers and traders from shortly after the founding of Jamestown until the end of the 18th century. I just want us to use logic. I just want you to use just a little bit of logic. It's damn near 150 million people over here, all ready to be taken over, all ready to be forced into some form of labor. Labor that you like, labor that you don't like, I don't care. As long as you helping me make this money, I don't care. So, I got all these willing participants. Well, let me not call it willing participants, but unwilling participants. But I'm going to make them participants either way, or I'm going to kill them. Why would I take a boat from America, because America is where they built the boats, build a boat, take it to Africa, pick up cargo, and bring it back, when I got the same cargo in abundance right before my eyes? Now, I know everybody ain't truck drivers, but if you know a truck driver, ask them how much logistics that make when you got cargo. Like, I got cargo in Columbus, but I'm going to drive to California, pick up the same cargo that I can get in Columbus just to drive it back to Columbus. That does not make logistics sense. And especially if you're trying to build an empire, you're going to have some form of logistics and some type of logic or rationale. So when they hit you with these Harriet Tubmans and these slave movies and these Wakandas and these Coming to Americas, Eddie Murphys, tell them to fall back on that slave stuff, on that Africa stuff. I'm still trying to do my research. I'll get back to you. Just don't tell me where I'm from without me doing my own personal research. Don't make the assumption, don't come to the conclusion because my skin is dark that I'm from Africa or my ancestry is from Africa. My ancestors could have been slaves, but they could have been Indian slaves. And I done showed and proved in many different videos. I got many more different videos where I'm telling you that the melanated man is God. So if the melanated man is God, he didn't come into existence in 1619, and he damn sure didn't get to this country by no damn slave ship. He's God. He could have walked on water to get here if he wanted to. Could have got here on a little canoe boat. Could have been born here, could have been created from the soil that you walk on so carelessly and so unaware of the ancient burial ground known as Turtle Island. Okay? So, with that being said, ODB knew all of this. Everybody knows this, but you don't know this. This is how life imitates art. So, in the show, episode 2, this is what I'm gonna finish with. Episode 2, there's a character by the name of Louis Gossett Jr. Well, that's not the character, that's the actor. The character's name is actually Hooded Justice, Hoodmystic. You feel me? That's what we doing. We providing justice to the ignorant in the hood, in the hooded form. We throw it on my hood right now. Man, this is not a game. Word to Olivia Hooker, though. Shout out to all the hookers. That's just a side note. This is the wrong time to be making jokes. The ancestors looking at me like, come on, bruh. You almost got it. You almost home, and here you go. But anyways, Olivia Hooker, one of the last survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, dies at 103. This happened in 2018, but as we know, Watchmen, episode 1 and 2, is centered around the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. So I know that I'm going to connect Olivia Hooker to ODB, right? You know I'm going to do that, right? You know that I'm going to take this shit back to Shaolin, right? You know why? Because Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. I'm trying to tell y'all something that y'all just don't really fully understand. Let's take this back to Shaolin one time where we were selling, you know what I'm saying? Before they were selling dope out of the project buildings, you know what I'm saying? Olivia Hooker was putting in work, you know? She was the originator of the wave, you feel me? Women accepted for volunteer emergency service, waves. You feel me? Like, we was in a state of emergency and Miss Hooker came and saved the day, providing that wave. You feel me? But where did she get her first military training? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. The home of ODB, Manhattan Beach, Brooklyn, New York. So, in the movie, the character is telling Regina King, Louis Gossett Jr., Olivia Hooker, she's telling her, look, man, this is a worldwide conspiracy, and if I was to give you the full details, it'd make your head explode. But what needs to happen is that we need to connect with our families and figure out our lineages, because that's what's being showed in episode 2. And if you do the research on Olivia Hooker, she ain't talk about it. She was about it. The reparations is already intact. And they've been trying to get reparations since 1997. Olivia Hooker. This is the same lady. Okay? So in the show, they're getting reparations with the dude in the wheelchair, the old school cat, and the young school cat, trying to teach them something about their history so they could begin to come together to get on the good foot. Many people have already gotten reparations already. The difference is that they came together and they forced the issue. They pressed the issue on the united front, and they wasn't about to be separated over the logistics. No, we want money, and we need to figure out how much we gonna get. And maybe everybody don't get in on it because they too busy fighting, they not paying attention, they don't care. but your collective and your grouping can definitely come together and get some stuff popping, whether you're dealing with the Moors or other things outside of that. But if y'all ain't trying to get no paper, if y'all ain't trying to get compensated, if y'all ain't trying to figure out how to just live a normal life, how everybody else is living, because listen, man, having money ain't gonna make you lazy. Having money gonna make you want to go to school. It's gonna make you want to travel. Gonna make you want to go take a walk in the park. Might do some personal investigations. Like, it makes you want to do stuff that really truly matter. So don't let people try to trick you into thinking that it's not good to have money and it's not good to fight for what's yours. And then knowing who you are. And then sometimes we don't have the family that, is there for us. And sometimes we don't necessarily know the lineages. We might be orphans, grew up in the system. And that's where you tap into the quantum. That's where you tap into everything that's been presented to us in the form of esotericism and spirituality. Some of us do come from broken families. Some of us do come from broken homes. And those are the perfect situations for you to tap in to your avatar, for you to tap in to your divine energy within this vessel called the human body and radiate from that point first and foremost. Because the quantum realm, the quantum reality is entirely into your hands. And now, this is really funny, but when ODB went to jail, they put out a video of him and Dolemite in the same video. And to tie into the reparations and everything that we talking about, the title of the song is called Baby, I Got Your Money. So I ain't gonna play it.
I used to.
And I cut my ads off, so we gonna watch this ad real quick. And now I'm gonna cut the video. I'm not gonna play the song after this video. You can listen to it at your leisure without having a copyright strike against your YouTube account. So I just want to show y'all, like, this is a real video too. I was bugging out after, imagine doing all this research, right? ODB and Dolemite, and you just come across this video. It's like, is this a real video? Like, it don't look real. Like, it looks like somebody's really fucking with me right now. But it's like, nah, this was a legit video that came out, like, when ODB was in jail and they was promoting the album, Nigga Please. And this is the lead single off of Nigga Please. Damn, that dude look just like Wesley. But yeah, it's so crazy how ODB and Dolemite got this whole little thing together. And I'm here to tell you that they in the astral realm, or, in the realm of transitions right now. And they really showing up as the ancient energy that they are. And I wouldn't dare call their name out on YouTube, but you can do the channelings, you can do the understandings of the sacred cloud and really tap into, the sacred clown, and really tap into this sacred energy. Now, in following the followings of the Wu-Tang clan and the Comanche, it's really about building up energy, becoming an expert of your terrain, becoming a master of your environment. And the way you master the environment is to master yourself, and then also utilize the power of herbs, the power of elixirs, the power of potions, the power of alcohol, the power of psychedelic mushrooms and LSD. All of these things allow you to tap into the quantum realm, utilizing your subconscious mind, tapping into energies beyond the constellations. That's what we're moving into. We're moving into a different term, a different time, and a different terminology. So, with it being entirely in my hands, this is what I'm deciding to do with this information being presented to me. Now, this has been a long stream of thought, a long stream of consciousness, and I don't expect it to be something that's just like point A, B, C, D, easy to understand. I want you to think. I want you to use your brain. I want you to connect the dots, and I want you to add to the conversation. I appreciate everybody, listening to me, or, taking this time out to just allow me to share my thoughts and feelings in relation to the quantum realm with the hopes that for this Hallows Eve and moving forward, that we could awaken the God within ourselves and not be so focused in on the material needs and the material pleasures. Because something that I've been told from the celestial realm is when I'm having material desires, anxiety, to let that shit go. Because the material world is going to come and it's going to go. But the soul and the power that comes from my heart, that resonates through my voice, that's something that is priceless. That is something that transcends material needs. Death is something of one of our greatest illusions. Something that never happens, that religion uses to scare us. And the fear of the war, the fear of rioting, the fear of lack, the fear of war, and in reference to the fear of war, rather, I just want to let everybody know that the war is already won. So rest your energy in that. Rest your energy in the soul. Rest your energy to know that the external world is an illusion that can be manipulated and mastered through magic, mysticism, energy vortexes. Get your ass out the house. Understand that energy is around you. Manipulate it, master it, understand it. And, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to be here with these videos, providing updates and, building and discussing and understanding this world around us. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed your time. I hope you enjoyed your Hallows Eve. I hope you, can feel this wave from the great Olivia Hooker. Before I end, I just want to give a shout out to all the spiritual influence, all the spiritual guys that assisted me in creating and pointing me out to the direction of the information. I want to start off with the great ODB. I want to start off with Dolemite, Charlie Murphy, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Bernie Mac, John Witherspoon. I can last but not least, and I'm gonna just stop right there. But with that being said, this has been a Hoodmystic presentation. Hope you gain something from it. Share this video, like, subscribe, and I'm just getting my popcorn ready for episode 3 and see what we get from that. And I'll be back next Thursday with more of this truth is stranger than fiction. Thank y'all for watching. I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.